The government should carefully consider whether to follow through with Brexit, as the EU referendum results are not legally binding. That's according to over 1,000 of the country's top lawyers who've penned an open letter to David Cameron. The signatories argue that primary legislation must be enacted before Article 50, the legal process of exiting the European Union, can be triggered. The lawyers add that the government should open an investigation into the benefits, costs and risks of withdrawing from the bloc. They then recommend there be a free vote in Parliament after a commission has reported on those findings. Well, joining me to discuss this in more detail is Jamie Kerr, who is a solicitor who specialises in immigration. Jamie, thanks for talking to us this evening. So the $64,000 question, is the referendum result legally binding?
I think 1,000 lawyers think so. I'm not sure that I agree with them. I think what the letter from the 1,000 lawyers shows is the real complexity in legal terms of the situation that the UK now faces itself in.
So the lawyers say then that it's not legally binding, right? That Parliament has no requirement, in fact, to uphold this vote. Do you agree with them? What's your legal opinion?
I think I would disagree on that. I think the parliamentary approval is, in my view, not required for the Prime Minister to give notice under Article 50. Prime Minister may seek to do that, the new Prime Minister might seek to do that simply as a matter of good politics. But in legal terms, my view is that in relation to international treaties, this is something that the Prime Minister is able to do without the approval of Parliament.
What about the sort of moral issues at play here? The referendum's made it clear that the UK is not a United Nations state at the moment. Those expressions are becoming more violent. We know that racially motivated hate crime has risen by 42%. So don't we need an investigation into this epidemic, as well as, of course, the other problems that Brexit has ignited, economic problems for a start?
I think a vote for Brexit has certainly brought economic problems. There has been social issues raised by the vote. I think it's probably too late for an inquiry of one sort or another. I think that ought to have happened prior to the referendum, and there would have been an onus on certainly those looking to leave the EU to put their case forward properly, which arguably they haven't done, and we're seeing the results of that now. I think moving forward, we need certainty. Business needs certainty, the public are looking for certainty, and it might be that the Prime Minister simply makes the Article 50 announcement or declaration as one of her first acts as a new Prime Minister. Alternatively, she may seek a vote in Parliament very swiftly, but as I said earlier, that would simply be a matter of good politics as opposed to being legally required.
Let me just home in on one of the things that you just said, because we knew at the time, but we know even more now, that campaigning from both sides in the run-up to the referendum was littered with scaremongering and smear tactics, and in some cases what have turned out to be outright lies. Was the public well enough informed ahead of the vote, or were they misled, and does that have legal ramifications?
I think the lawyers' letter that the 1,000 lawyers signed points towards the public having been misled. I think the real disappointment for many is that those who led the campaign to leave, one would have thought they had a plan for when the vote went their way. Almost entirely, the entire leadership of that campaign, all the notable characters have all disappeared, have all stood back. And that cannot be right. That cannot be right. But I think in terms of moving forward, we are where we are. The public have voted the way the public have voted, and on one view it's for the new Prime Minister to push ahead with that.
All right, Jamie Kerr, thank you very much for your thoughts.
Thank you very much.